Hello, and welcome to the ASMR Travel Agency. So, what makes our travel agency unique, you might ask? And what makes our travel agency unique is that because we are an ASMR travel agency, we only focus on small towns and places that are very relaxing or remote or nature related. So you're not going to find any big cities or crazy, loud, bustling places. You're only going to find the very small and relaxing locations. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the locations that we have available. I have a variety of brochures. I have magazines, I have little info guides for different cities and for different towns. And if you see anything that you want to look further into, let me know and I will go over it. And then in the end, we can decide where you want to travel. So, the first place that I have is Logan Valley, and that is in Utah. So, you can see that there are a variety of hiking, lakes, mountains. So, this is a very beautiful, relaxing place. Next, I have a travel guide to Lake Erie. And this is not just any simple travel guide. This is a huge guide. This has a ton of information all about Lake Erie and the areas around it. Next, I have Sandoval County, New Mexico. This is not somewhere that a lot of people might have on their travel radar, but here we focus on some of those lesser known places. So you can see here the landscape. It's very remote, very quiet, and definitely somewhere that you can go and there won't be a lot of like noise or sound or anything like that. Then we have Carbon County, Wyoming. Carbon County, Wyoming. And this has 10 plus museums and historic sites. You can see a woman fishing, beautiful kind of cliff mountain area and lake. And it says, "Get your West on." So you can see that they're kind of giving a bit of like a Wild West vibe, which is very interesting. Next, we have a brochure for the peaceful side of the Smokies, the Smoky Mountains. And these are in Tennessee. And you can see there is a nice couple looking over the mountains. And then on the back, there's some like children in a hammock and tubing, like water tubing. So, and we also have the top of Utah. So if you choose to go here, you're just going to stand at the top of the state and have the time of your life. But yes, this is top of Utah. So the most scenic way to Jackson and Yellowstone. This is a very small brochure, and it has a little map of Utah on the back. Next, we have Whiteville, Virginia. and it's a very large visitor's guide, and it has, can you kind of see on the map where it is? And they have chosen to put a water tower on the front. So I'm not sure how interesting Whiteville is, but they certainly have a very large brochure. And this one seems to be a lot more focused on like the biking, kayaking, woods adventures, and like I don't know what you would call it, like those obstacle courses and things like that. Next we have Cody, and this is also in Wyoming, and it says Cody Yellowstone, the Great American Adventure. And this also has a very Wild West feel to it. And it mentions Yellowstone, so it's very close to Yellowstone Park. We have a few more. We have 2 magazines. We have Greater Zion, which is in Utah. And this is an absolutely beautiful area in Utah. There are some areas of Utah that have more city feel, like Salt Lake and Provo and things like that. But if you continue to go south, you get these areas that are like really almost like mini Grand Canyons, like rocky cliffs and these beautiful formations, like rock formations. And there's other things to do there too. And then the last one that I have is what I believe is Klamath, or I don't think it's Klamath, I believe it's Klamath County, and this is in Oregon. And they have this little mascot. I don't know his name. Does he have a name? You should name him. If anybody has a name for this guy, let me know. And this says Visitor's Guide for Klamath County, Oregon. And then it says the top 10 must see and do at Crater Lake and lava beds. And then the Klamath Basin and family-friendly ideas. So, I don't know if anyone has any, if anybody has any, like, ones that interest you more than another. If you do, let me know. Otherwise, I will pick a few and we can explore where you might want to travel next. Let's see here. Some of these are very thick. Most of them are very beautiful as far as like the pictures and designs and stuff like that. I think I'm interested in this one, the last one that we looked at. So it says, it's time to discover Klamath, the very home of Crater Lake. Half a hop from the lava beds. Not only is it a top birding hotspot, but it's full of heritage sites, rivers, and lakes, cycling, hiking, and did we mention Crater Lake? So, that's the back. So you can see the birds and biking. It seems based on the front and back that they're pretty much resting all of their like everything on Crater Lake. That's like their whole big thing. So let's see. So they have golf near the area. So if you're interested in golf, and it's an Arnold Palmer signature course. So he's a famous golfer, so that must mean that it's good. And they're telling us that we can do outdoor recreation, fishing, cycling and biking, golf, hiking, birding, water sports, horseback riding, winter sports, live entertainment, family friendly, pet friendly, the cuisine, and breweries. So let's see. I'm interested in pet friendly. Oh, and they also have at the very end, they have a calendar of events throughout the year. So depending on what time of year you go, they have art shows, they have birding festivals. Birding seems to be a big thing for them. They have a rock and gem show, which actually sounds pretty fun. They have something called the Chocolate Walk, which, okay. Lava beds, haunted cave tours in October. That sounds, considering how remote this area is, actually sounds like it might be kind of scary. They have an Oktoberfest, a blues festival, car festivals. Over the summer, they have some food festivals and car shows and motocross race. So that sounds fun. They have quite a few breweries in the area. So if you're interested in that, that could be something. And apparently they do have quite a few pet-friendly things. They have pet-friendly bars and restaurants. They have outdoor activities and like dog parks, and quite a few lodges and hotels that accept pets. That can be a big consideration for someone. It's very beautiful in the winter. You can see a variety of skiing and winter activities. And I myself have never been to Wyoming, but it does look beautiful. One place that I have been to is Utah. I went to, oh my gosh, it feels like it was recently, but it wasn't this past September. It was the September before. I went to Salt Lake City area, like all around that area. And it's actually kind of similar to this top of Utah right here. So there's Salt Lake City is right there. So that's where I went. I went to Salt Lake City, Provo, and Park City. And Park City is where the Olympics were. And that was a really, really beautiful location. And the time of year that I was there in September was actually like right on the edge of winter for them. So, I mean, I had never been there before. I didn't know anything about it, but the like first day that I was there was snow on the mountaintop. So half of it was like regular and then snow on the peaks. And everyone there was like very excited. And it was really pretty. Like mountains are cool, but they're beautiful with snow. And I don't think it would have been the same if I didn't get a chance to see the snow on the mountains. So Utah is an interesting place because at the top, you're very close to Yellowstone National Park. And then in the middle, you have more, it's Salt Lake City is a city, but it's not a high-rise type city. It's very spread out. They don't have skyscrapers per se. There's a lot of like, taller buildings, but I've been to quite a few bigger cities like Chicago, New York, and Philadelphia, and things like that. And even like Toronto and things, it's nothing like that. It's tiny compared to those places. But one thing I didn't get to do, which I would love to do, and I'm planning on, is eventually going somewhere like here. And this is the greater Zion area of Utah. And compared to where I was, which I think this is quite a few hours south, it's like a new country. It feels completely different. So here we have Hurricane Valley, Zion Canyon, St. George area, and Zion National Park. And it says, with a thriving arts scene, a temperate climate, ribbons of emerald green fairways, and the incredible scenery of Zion National Park, Greater Zion is a haven you'll wish you discovered long ago. Whether you enjoy outdoor activities such as hiking, biking, canyoneering, off-roading, or prefer a day of pampering or art gallery gazing, we have all of that to offer and more. And there's a beautiful picture of a sunset. And then here we have some hiking. And it says that it just celebrated 100 years, Zion National Park, in 2019, since becoming Utah's first national park. And it's known for striking contrasts. And there's red and white sandstone cliffs. And yeah, beautiful colors. When I was in Salt Lake City, I went to, I believe it was the University of Utah. I'm not 100% sure. I always get it wrong. But I did go to the university has a botanical garden, and I have mentioned in many videos that I love botanical gardens. And so whenever I travel, I always try to find whatever one is located closest to where I am. And so I went to the one at the university, and it was so different than the ones that I'm used to in like the Northeast United States, where it has like big domed conservatory areas with like lush plants and mists and steams and stuff like that. It was very arid and dry and much more desert-like, but it was really cool to see the difference. And I remember, not exactly like this, but similar in the, it's not a lush green atmosphere. There was like spiky cactus plants and a lot of different more like dry, tempered plants. I also saw a snake, and it could have been a rattlesnake. I didn't stick around to find out. So here's a waterfall, which looks so beautiful. We have absolutely nothing like this by where I'm from. So for some people, if this is something that you're used to, it's maybe not as, I don't know, magnificent, but for somebody like me who, like, there's no mountains, it's very flat, seeing stuff like that is amazing. And we have even more info about Zion National Park, and also a map that shows, I guess, all the different museums, theaters, cafes. That sounds like a nice place for a cafe. Art galleries, hotels, and great restaurants. Ooh, look at this. I can't tell if that's beautiful, scary, or both. I certainly would not get that close to the edge, but it's so pretty. I would be over here admiring from a distance. But it's very bittersweet looking through these magazines because I cannot wait to go explore. I'm a little nervous that everywhere that I want to go when it gets back to being everyone can travel, that it's going to be super busy. And I don't want to have to go to some of these beautiful places and like be cramped with a bunch of people. But I guess I would rather do that than nothing. Here we have a rainbow. Yeah, I definitely have never been here, but I am kind of kicking myself for being so close to it and not going. I do plan to go back to Utah, though. There's plenty of places to see. I'm not much for like biking and off-roading and stuff like that, but that's something that they talk a lot about in here. And then they have golf courses. I am not a golfer, but I would definitely stand there and look at the view for sure. And then they have some banquet halls. This here is a massive banquet hall. Look how big that is. My goodness. It says 46,000 square feet exhibit hall, 32,000 foot meeting space, 19 breakout rooms, 2 board rooms, catering, and event management. Cool. One thing that I will say about these particular areas out in the western United States is that it is very difficult to find somewhere that's not absolutely gorgeous. One of the things that I always laugh about on my trip to Utah is at one point I went to a mall, like just a regular old mall, and ended up having some lunch while I was there. I got like a sandwich or something. And in like the food court area, there was a huge picture window, and outside of the window was a view of the mountains there. And it was the kind of thing where anywhere else, or at least like in the area where I'm from, if you were just sitting in the food court and you looked out, you'd basically just be looking at like apartments or not really anything special, but just sitting there having like a wrap. It was everywhere you look, 360 degrees, was gorgeous. So yeah, and it looks like it opens up into a map, but I'm not going to open the whole thing up, but that's convenient. So there we have the Greater Zion area, and there's actually a lot more to do. I knew that there was a lot of like parks and stuff, but I didn't know how much there was to do. Let's look here, because I've never been anywhere around here before. This is Sandoval County, New Mexico. And I don't know anything about it. It says it is home to some of the Southwest's most beautiful settings and culturally diverse communities. From the stunning backdrop of the, and I'm probably going to butcher this, so I'm sorry, Valles Caldera National Preserve, to the striking visuals of Kasha-Katuwe Tent Rock's geological forms. Sandoval County's culture permeates every corner of our area. Interesting. So they have spring events, summer, fall, and winter, and they have some art shows and festivals and barbecue and beer, so sign me up for that. That's the photos on the table of contents. So it definitely looks like there's a lot of cultural elements here. Lots of different festivals and things to do. The Mountain West Brewfest. As the leaves begin to change and the fall air becomes crisp, this exciting outdoor event featuring New Mexico craft breweries and spirits from throughout the Southwest is held on the last Saturday of August. Great food options from local food trucks and live music. That sounds fun. Fall is my favorite season. Always, always, always. I adore the color change, like the leaf changing, and I wish it would just stick around forever. I did post, I forget how long ago it was, but when I went to the Chicago Botanical Gardens, I just happened to be there when the leaves were changing. And it was really magical. And not that it wouldn't have been pretty otherwise, because it absolutely would have been pretty, but it was just something magical with the already beautiful garden and then the fall colors behind it. And thank you, Meg, for saying happy birthday. I'm very old, but not old enough to be done traveling, that's for sure. We have like a bull riding thing going on here. I don't know. And then this is where it starts talking about some of the cultural stuff, like the open air market and stuff like that. Art. This is pretty. Like rock formations and stuff. And this thing, it's called Light Among the Ruins. One of the most beloved and memorable holiday events in the state, Light Among the Ruins features over 1,400 sand-filled paper bags lit with candles. Pueblo dancers and musicians add to the ambiance, and visitors are able to purchase handcrafted items made by Pueblo members. And that's what it looks like. Hello. All right, so I'm not super sold on Sandoval County, but it's still very pretty. Let's see. I will say that I'm kind of a sucker for anywhere with mountains. I love mountains. And this is another area in Utah. It's called Logan. I think this might have actually be a little bit closer to where I was before, because I remember hearing about it. And this is more about like the hotels and stuff you can stay at, but they do have some pictures of like looking out on the mountains. So let's see. This place looks pretty unique. It's called Cody, and this is in Wyoming, I believe. Yes, Cody, Wyoming. And it says, the West isn't just a direction. So interesting. And it says, welcome to the Great American Adventure. So if you're somebody who definitely likes the Wild West vibe, I think this would be a cool place. It seems very West. It says, the West is our heritage and soul. It's the explorers and trailblazers and outlaws who came before us, and the proud people who were here before them. And it says, it will live as long as there are places like Yellowstone and towns like Cody, Wyoming. This is where the Great American Adventure calls home. And it has their like heritage and history, which is pretty cool. This is like a little minor, like a small history book almost. And it was founded by Buffalo Bill Cody, which is like a famous kind of character from the history. I don't know a lot about him, but I know the name. And it says, this is where Annie Oakley went from being a girl with a gun to a legendary sharpshooter. So that's very steeped in history. This is very beautiful. It's like beautiful photography, and the paper, like I will say, whoever designed this and whoever kind of put this together, like I don't know anything about the town, but they definitely put a lot of thought into it because it has a very specific Wild West look. It has beautiful pictures, and it also has a textured paper, like a very kind of almost not dyed, but like muted look. And they did a good job like capturing the vibe of it. There's a lot of words. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with explaining it, but I think people kind of prefer to see what's going on. There's like a bison, I guess. Buffalo. And then it tells you what a day could look like if you go there, like a day in the life of a vacationer in Cody. And you can get a stiff cup of cowboy coffee at one of the independent coffee roasters. Ooh. Another absolutely beautiful picture. Things like this look really fun to me, but I just don't know if I would be able to do it. Like, something about whitewater rafting sounds super cool, and then I think it would be terrifying. So I don't know if I'll actually end up ever doing it. Another picture of like a mountain, waterfall, snow area. Lots of information about hotels and motels. There's actually more there than I would think that there would be. It's interesting. Campgrounds and RV parks. And then they have a whole section in the back just about all the festivals that they have. And then another picture of like a long and winding road. Places to meet. Banquet areas. Oh, look at that baby bear. He's so cute. And then at the very end, there's a map of scenic areas that you can go to. Scenic Drives Vicinity Map. And here it will tell you different towns that have like beautiful views, and then also how close it is to Yellowstone National Park. So if you like the Wild West, that sounds like a pretty legit place. Oh, have you? How? Now I want to know how it is. I'm so excited. I will say that, so people who watch all the time will know that I'm from New Jersey, and I've had quite a few friends over the years who have either gone to like visit family or go on vacation or just kind of go out to the West areas, specifically mostly like Colorado seems to be the big one. And everyone I know that goes out there, they end up either like never leaving, or they come back and start making plans to like move out there as soon as they can. And I mean, I've lived in Edmonton before. I lived in Alberta, which does have like absolutely gorgeous mountains and ski towns and stuff like that. Yeah, and someone commented about being scared of the buffalo. When I was in Canada, they had huge like moose and elk and stuff like that, and I'd never saw anything like that where I'm from. We have deer, like lots of deer around here, and they're small and they're scared of you. Like, you drive past them and they'll run. These moose are like 700 pounds, and I never saw anything like that before. Never. And they are dangerous. Like, there's a lot of stuff in the Canadian Rockies, like wildlife that I would like, bears and stuff that we do not have around here. And but yeah, when I went out to Utah a couple years ago, I started to kind of understand the people that went out that way and ended up going and staying out there, because it's so different and it's so beautiful. Like, it doesn't matter where you look around, especially if there's mountains or like snow-covered mountains. Nature, it just seems like there's a lot more nature and things like mountains, waterfalls, rivers. I mean, we have the beach here, so if you're into the beach, we have some fangirling going on. I'm a big fan too. But yeah, I can't imagine being away from the beach, but then I also want the mountains, so I just have to get really rich and get another house. I think that's gonna solve everything. Oh, you know what? I actually have a brochure here from the Chicago Botanical Gardens, but I didn't actually mean to bring this, but there it is. So, let's see. Some of these are humongous. I don't even know if I can open this all the way. Whiteville, Virginia. Oh my goodness. Who made this? This just looks like a giant advertisement. Yeah, you're not selling me on this Whiteville. I'm not athletic enough to go there. I prefer just sitting and looking at pretty parks. Let's see, this looks pretty. I've never been here before. This is Tennessee, and I have a couple friends that live out that way, so I could probably go if I wanted to, which I mean, at this point, I want to go anywhere. But, oh, they have a Panera. The bar is low after the pandemic. I think it's pretty far for me to get to Tennessee, maybe like 10 hours. And the only problem is that none of the like train routes, or it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's not so much like a direct route, so it's tough. But I would like to go because I don't think I never really realized how many mountains and stuff could be out there. Even in like Virginia and West Virginia, I always kind of thought of them as boring, and they are not. When I went to Chicago, I took the train all the way across it was about like a day and a half on the train. And I went through Virginia and West Virginia. It was very pretty. All right. So, let's see. This thing is massive. Who knew there was so much to do in Lake Erie? I have been to Lake Erie before. There's some like long lost family that live out in that area, and it's been a really long time since I was there. But one thing I remember more than anything is beach glass. So they have stuff on the beach. I don't know if it's from like pressure or if my parents just lied to us and said that it was something that it wasn't, but they had all this colorful glass along the beach, and it wasn't like broken bottles. Like my parents are not like that. But it was like pebbles and stuff like that. And we collected them and put them in jars and stuff. And as a little kid, that was like the biggest thing that I remember. But there's whole maps in here. My goodness. There's a picture of somebody like windsurfing. I've been windsurfing. It was a really long time ago. It's very hard. That's the one where you have to like hold on to the bar and kind of steer. You're like a one-person sailboat. And I thought that it was like easy, and it takes a lot of arm strength. That is not an easy thing to do. Yeah. This says Ohio's Lake Erie, And obviously Lake Erie kind of borders different places. I've only been to the Pennsylvania one, the Pennsylvania Lake Erie, but apparently Ohio lays claim to it as well. And I also remember while I was there, we went to Canada. I think it was a pretty easy drive to get to Niagara Falls. So that was back when the border was still open. It's very pretty. This is actually not too different from what I can see, not too far from me. New Jersey has a lot of oceans, bays, big kind of like, you can find restaurants where you can sit and look out and see, similar to that. Maybe that's why I wasn't as impressed when I was a kid. Oh, and there you can see the Canada and United States line is right there. So that's probably why we went. There's also this International Peace Memorial, just like a gigantic column, and kayaking. That's much more my speed than whitewater rafting. That I can do. Pizza, which is making me hungry. I think I'm going to do outdoor dining for my birthday later because it's nice. I was holding off on deciding if I was going to do anything because it's weather dependent. I'm not comfortable with doing indoor dining yet, but I'm definitely cool with outdoor dining, and so hopefully it won't be too crowded later. And we have a water park for the kids, so that's interesting. And Great Wolf Lodge, I've heard of that. I think I know some people that have gone there. It says Great Wolf Lodge, Cedar Point, Castaway Bay. I don't know. Some food, which is making me hungry. North Shores. I think this is the same picture, just 17 times, but it's still very pretty to look at. There's like giraffe. There's a lot of little like boat excursions, like boat tours. And then we also have a Cedar Point, which is the amusement park. I was actually just talking with someone the other day about how when like everything is back open and we can kind of just go wherever, if I want to go to an amusement park or not, because it's been so long since I feel like I'm one of those old people that are going to get like sick now. When I was a kid, I could go on roller coasters and it was no problem. And now I feel like I'm that kind of person that would just get dizzy and sick for the rest of the day. I don't know what age that happens, but it's an age I've already passed. So I think we're going to stay away from the theme parks. Unless it's Epcot, and then you can just drink through all the countries. I didn't know there were so many shores. Oh, here's another one of those obstacle courses that we used to do in high school. And a baseball stadium. That is my speed for sure. And then there's, I guess, like, oh, I lost it. You can do tours of an airplane, like low tours. So that's actually pretty comprehensive. So there we go. We got Lake Erie, we got Cody, and Logan and Sandoval, Greater Zion and Klamath and Tennessee, and the only one that I haven't done is this guy right here, which is Carbon County, Wyoming. So let's see what's up. Get your vest on. How much money did they come up with? Did they pay a marketing agency to come up with Get Your West On? Okay, it says, Wyoming's Carbon County has it all. Nowhere else will you find such a diversity of landscapes and wide open spaces. Come explore pristine mountains, beautiful deserts, rivers teeming with blue ribbon trout, mineral hot springs pools, and trails on the Continental Divide. 10 museums and numerous historic sites, abundant wildlife, dazzling sunsets, and every authentic Western adventure you can imagine. And then these are the photos. So, dude on a rock, sunset, and this actually is very beautiful. I would love to see that. Oh, look at the little guy. He's like, excuse me, I do not consent to having this in the book. Big fan of sunsets. And then we have, I don't know what this is. It's like beautiful and scary at the same time. Some kind of like elk deer thing with like 4 horns. He's regal. Wait, it says Carbon County has been traversed by the Overland Trail, Oregon Trail. The Oregon Trail. Where? I want to go on the Oregon Trail. That's been my dream since elementary school. I don't want to die of snake bite, but I do want to go on the Oregon Trail. Oh, and the original route of the Union Pacific Railroad. Interesting. Rawlins. And it says it's 290 miles from Salt Lake City, 280 miles from Yellowstone, 160 miles from Colorado. Interesting. Some more pictures of sunset and almost like a galaxy. Is it like the Milky Way or something? I will say one thing I would always like to do, see. I haven't done it yet, and I should have when I was in Alberta, but I was actually there to go to school. I wasn't there to travel, so I did get to travel a little bit, but I didn't have a car because I was a student, like living in the city, so I didn't get to branch out as much as I would have liked to. But one thing I really want to do is see the Northern Lights. And I don't know why I want to so bad. It just seems so unique and like mystical, almost like impossible. Like what even is it? And but you have to go to some pretty remote places for that. So I have not yet, and I know that in a lot of places in northern Canada you can see it pretty easily. So I should have done it while I was there, but alas. And we have a dude who has a fish and another really pretty landscape. This is extremely western here. The encampment and riverside, and it has like a general store and like an old Wild West looking like storefront, like something you would see in some ghost town. It's kind of cool. And some more pictures of wildlife and biking and a river. I think it's a river. River, body of water of some kind. Telling you about all the different restaurants and scenic drives. A couple more pictures. That's kind of how it looked when I was in Utah, where it had the most of it was just regular, but then it had the tips, like the tops was snow covered. It was very pretty. And then at the very, very end, they have some more pictures of a historical site, and I guess that's a bird. I don't know why you would pick that picture, but it's like a bird laying on its back or something. That was the best one they could get. So, there you go. So, I mean, I'm very biased because I've been there before, but I think probably the southern Utah area, the Zion area, is my pick for the next place that I would like to go. I also would really like to go back to Canada, but it seems as though we're going to be able to do that before they can in Canada, so we'll have to wait for them. It's been a long time since I've been in Canada, and I miss it, and I actually was supposed to go for my birthday last year. So this time last year, I had tickets to go to a podcast up in Kingston, Ontario, and it got canceled, obviously, like everything else. I don't know if they're ever going to reschedule it again because it's been so long, but definitely looking forward to going back to Canada. And does anybody want to say hello to Oliver? I don't know if he wants to be on camera or not, but it's my birthday. I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to try to turn the computer because these cats are hilarious. Look at these cats. So that is Mia Ham, and Fat Cat Oliver. So just thought you might want to see the cats. Yes, so I don't think I have any materials on it because I lived in Canada in, I think it was 2003. My gosh, it was a long time ago. I lived in Canada in 2003. And so when I lived in Edmonton, it's not far from Jasper and Banff. I have been to both places, and Banff was absolutely beautiful, like so gorgeous. The best way that I can describe Banff is like a picture that they would put on like a Christmas card, like I have some pictures from when I was there, but I don't know where they went. But basically, from what I can remember, and it was quite a long time ago, but from what I can remember, it was winter when I was there. So it was very beautiful because the mountains all had snow on them. And then there's a main street, and at the end of the street, you can see the mountains behind. And the street is lined with like old-timey street lights, but not like typical ones, but the ones that almost kind of look like lanterns. And so they line streets, and then there's all these different storefronts, like shop fronts. And I remember because my uncle really likes trains, and I bought him a hand-carved train whistle, like a wooden train whistle, while I was there. From the Canadian CN Rail. And so yeah, it was like out of a like a Hallmark card. And I was there as it was starting to get dark, and so the lights flicker on, like the street lamps, and it was like lightly snowing, and it was just like you want to like just take a picture of it. And well, I did take a picture of it in my mind. And then there was like I don't know if it was a candy store or something else, but we got hot chocolate, and it was like homemade hot chocolate. And it was just the most like quintessential family winter moment you could ever think of in a million years. Like just sitting there with like warm hot chocolate and flickering lights with the mountains and snow. I don't remember there being like a ton to do in that particular town other than it just being like beautiful and quaint, but there's a lot of stuff in the area. There's Banff and Jasper, and then the other place in that area, which is absolutely gorgeous, is Lake Louise. So I don't know if that's something you would want to put on your list or not, but Lake Louise, in addition to a bunch of other places around there, it has water. It's like turquoise. Like, it seems fake. It's so amazingly blue and like bluish green and perfect that it just seems like somebody like put food dye in there or something. Um, this is going to be a very weird suggestion, but if anybody wants to see like what it looks like in that area, there's an Instagram page that I follow. It's a cat. His name is Gary, and it's I'll put it in the chat. It's Great Grams of Gary. And the cat's name is Gary, and they live in Alberta, and they live in that kind of area in like the Canmore, I think, sort of near Jasper, Banff area. And the cat goes skiing, and he's real cute. He has like shades and a jacket. But I watch it not just because the cat is cooler than I'll ever be, but because they travel almost daily. They hike and they ski, they go to the mountains, and they go all the way up to the top. And then he shows, like, he pans around the mountains, and most of the time the cat's in the picture, but it reminds me of the stuff that I saw when I lived in Alberta. So not only is it cute cat content, but also very cool, like, scenery content. So I'm very here for both of those things. So, being that we're almost an hour into this, I don't think anybody else but you guys is going to watch this thing all the way through. So I'm going to break, whatever you want to call it, role play character. If you guys have any questions for me, or, you just want to say something, I'll be here for a couple more minutes. And, trying to decide if I want to come back later to do like a little birthday party, but I don't have any plan. Like, I don't have anything planned to do it. So if I end up getting any gifts later, maybe I'll just do like a gift haul video in the next couple of days. I have really bad allergies, so I feel like I sound like iffy. But I'm looking forward to doing more videos soon. I have quite a few new backgrounds. I didn't know this, but apparently on Amazon, there's some people, like, there's photographers, they sell some backgrounds, like if they bought it for a specific project and they don't need it anymore. I bought the one that I had in my earlier video, my morning live, was like $5, and that is definitely my speed. So I will hopefully be able to make some new videos soon with some of the new backgrounds I got. I have a couple funny ones coming up. I want to do some stuff that's funny and try a couple different things and experiment a little bit. So, all right, well, if there's no questions, then I will thank you for joining me today and keeping me company on my birthday and making me both excited and also very nostalgic, because it's still going to be not a lot of time, but at least a couple weeks to a couple months or longer till anybody can really go anywhere safely. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but it's at your own risk, I guess. So thanks for joining me. And of course, as soon as I, if I do go travel, I'll make some videos with my travel photos. And of course, for all of your, anti-MLM content, you can always check out my other channel. I don't know if anybody knows that I do have another YouTube channel. I mention it from time to time. So you're welcome to check that out. And I will talk to all of you guys in the potentially very near future, but definitely very soon. So thank you again for joining me. Bye-bye.